on subscriber now. Yes, I've got a Angel with me. Angel is my guinea pig, in case you didn't know. She lives with my parents. So I'm currently at my parents' home in Dawlish in the UK. And Angel had to go to the vets this morning, didn't you, darling? Because she had blood coming out of her and it came from her paw. So she's got a poorly paw. And so the vet had to do a little bit of operating, but she didn't have anaesthetic because she's 6. And so she was able to have some like hay pulled out from the wound. So what had happened was some hay seems to have wrapped around the foot and then pulled it tight, and then it burst open because she had to have surgery on her foot towards the beginning of this year, and because there was an old wound there, when the hay had wrapped completely round it, it like pulled it like a rope and was really tight, and that ended up like squeezing the old wound, and it basically burst open. So yeah, even though it's meant to have healed, it hadn't completely, obviously, totally healed by the look of it. But apparently she's got like a dermatitis on her foot, like bumblefoot it is, you know, that chickens have, basically. But she had to have it cut open last time, so we're hoping she doesn't have to have that done again. And it was bleeding a lot though, so my mum phoned me up because she lives with my parents, so we could take her to the vets. Why did she live with my parents? Because she had diabetes. So Angel's a guinea pig, and it's very, very rare for guinea pigs to become diabetic. And in 2018, she went completely blind within 10 days, and she got diabetes. And she lived with her companion, and they both had to come over to live with my parents in April 2018 because I couldn't inject her. I had a panic attack at the vets because I got fear of needles and blood, and I just couldn't do it. And so basically, my mum's diabetic, so she took over Angel's care with her companion. Her companion and her had to have an operation late that year, and she came through it, and her companion came through, and then there was basically her companion came through but then started bleeding and she didn't make it. So I can't say too much in front of her because it's not nice. But anyway, so Angel is a miracle because she basically became diabetic free in January last year. So she stopped being diabetic and came off all medication. And so I was speaking to the vet today, and he's like, I said, oh, you should put her on your blog because the surgery, the veterinary clinic, if you like, has a blog, and say that she's a recovered diabetic. And he said, I can't do that because they'd all think I'm crazy because it's impossible for that to happen. You know, and they'd think that he needs to retire and he'd gone crazy, and it never actually happened. I'm like, but it did for 2.5 years, you know, because I've got the actual, I've got all the, because I had to claim off insurance at the time, so I got all the paperwork through the insurance. So and she did have to have injection, you know, diabetic needles, and had to have insulin because my mum used to have to inject her twice a day. So it's not very many cases of guinea pigs that have had diabetes anyway. The fact she's completely recovered, he said that's impossible to happen. It can't happen. He said, oh, if I went online with that, I'd get trolled. And people would think I was crazy and make me retire because they think I'd lost my mind. But I'm like, they should put on the blog that it can happen, that miracles can happen, you see. But he's like, it's impossible. It shouldn't ever happen. It's not normal. So he wouldn't put it on the blog. He doesn't want people to know about it because he's basically saying that it's that like impossible to happen that no one would believe him. But I want you to say and see that miracles can happen and the impossible can be possible, because she's been like free of diabetes now for over a year. It'll be 2 years next January, so over 1.5 years. But my parents, she does have like other health concerns that happen. So my mum's really good at looking after her. So towards the beginning of this year, she had a bladder stone removed because she did have internal bleeding, and she had a problem with her paw, and her paw was literally, she had bumblefoot, and it was all, it was like infected. So the vet had to literally cut it open, and she had to have an open wound for quite a while. And it's that's kind of like come up again and like burst when it seemed to have some hay that's wrapped right around the foot. It's very unusual. She always gets unusual things happen to her. So she's got to go for a checkup in 2 weeks' time. And they're hoping she's not going to have any surgery because obviously she's 6 now. and you know it's not good to be able to put her under anaesthetic if she doesn't need to go on it. So her paw is congealed now. My dad stopped the bleeding, luckily, and so that her paw isn't bleeding anymore, you know, like before she got to the vets. And so yeah, you can see she's very happy and healthy though overall. She's put on weight as well since he last saw her, which is good. So she's recovered diabetes, and she's got some sight back in her eyes, even though this one's like more glazed over again, more blind again. She did have cataracts, and then the cataracts went away, but I think she's got some blindness back again. But she can still like get around a cage fine and still see things really. See, she can see. See, she's like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, she's like, "What are you doing, mummy?" And so yeah, she was six in June, so she's a good age. Guinea pigs usually live either between 4 and 6 years or 6 to 8 years. And she's absolutely beautiful. So I wanted you to know that miracles can happen, that she has made the impossible possible, because like the vet said, it's not possible for someone who's a guinea pig usually to recover from diabetes, but she did it. She must probably be, well, I think she's the only one that he knows of in existence that's ever done that. You know, so I'm really proud of her. I'm really proud of her that she's a recovered diabetic, you know, and that she's, you know, the way she is, you know, she's gone through the operation she went through with her companion. That was ovarian cyst she had removed. Then a couple of years ago, it might have been 3 years ago now, she had to have a lump removed from her back, which is pressing on her spine. It looked gorgeous. And then this year she had to have the paw cut open for bumblefoot, and also a bladder stone removed. And she's got through all that, and she's recovered from diabetes. She got her, well, you got your sight back pretty much fully. I think some of it's gone a little bit again, but you can still see, can't you? Hello, gorgeous. And so she's amazing. And as you can see, I'm really happy she's okay. But because Mum said she was bleeding quite a lot this morning, and it's because she's got a paw. I don't think I can show you, but it's under here. But it's going to be a bit sore, so. But basically one of her paws, I don't know if you can see her paw, it's this one here. It's a bit pinky. It's that one there, isn't it, darling? Yeah, so we've got to be careful because I don't want to open it up again, obviously. But yeah, it was bleeding a lot, wasn't it? But luckily, my dad managed to stop the bleeding by applying pressure to it, just like you would do a human wound. So she is a miracle. Do you want me to put you on the towel again? Is it softer for you? There we go. There we go. She was cuddling me a lot in the vets. She kept jumping up to cuddle me, didn't you? But she hasn't seen me for a while, so yeah. So miracles can happen. She's a miracle guinea pig where she recovered from diabetes. And, you know, when people tell you in life you can't do something, something's impossible, it's never going to happen, you know, there are rare instances that these things do happen, you know, because the world is big and magnificent and magical and special. And look at her face. She's 6, but she only looks about 4, don't you, or younger? You know, and she's my best friend. And I love her to bits, you know. Me and Angel have a very special bond. I hadn't seen her for a while, so she was like, in the vet, she's like, kept putting her paws on me, wanting a cuddle. So I picked her up and cuddled her, didn't I? I picked you up and cuddled you. I did. And gave her lots of love. You know, lots of love. Because animals like to feel safe and secure. But she did have to have forceps, like tweezers, to pull this hay that got on the wound, and that somehow got wrapped around her foot. We don't really know how it happened. It's like rare for it to happen, but usually with any pets I've had, they've had really rare, weird things happen to them. I think I got the special pets, special guinea pigs, where strange and miraculous things happen to them, you know. But she's a miracle. She's doing very well. She did lose quite a bit of blood this morning, so I'm really happy that she's still eating fine. She's still looking fine, but sometimes guinea pigs can look okay when they're not. But, you know, she is eating well. She's put on weight, and so I'm really, really pleased for her. You know, I did think it was kind of like funny in a ironic weird way when the vet's like, I can't, because I said, like I said to you about putting on the blog that she's recovered diabetic. It's like, I can't do that. No one would believe me. They'd think I was crazy because it's impossible. But it happened, you know. And I think it's good because it gives hope to other animals, you know. It gives hope to other pets. But it's very rare for guinea pigs to get diabetes anyway. He's only known, I think, of a couple of others, and they didn't make it more than 6 months. And Angel had it for 2.5 years, recovered, but then she got very good care with my parents. My mum is excellent with pets and excellent with Angel. She has like round the clock care nearly, you know, like my mum is at home all the time. My mum doesn't really like going out. My parents gone out shopping now, food shopping. That's about the only time she goes out is for food shopping mostly, you know. My mum's a homebody. She doesn't really like going out at all. And so, you know, she does things in routines as well. She'll get really early and then cleans Angel out usually between 7 and 8 in the morning. And so Angel's got into a routine here. And Angel stopped drinking water this year. So she syringes her water every morning. So, you know, she's actually, you know, because obviously she used to live with me and I do love her dearly. And some people are like, well, why is she living with your parents if she's yours? And I'm like, because she was diabetic. And my mum's diabetic. And my mum took care of her and injected her when I couldn't for 2.5 years. And she's very settled here. But because she has ongoing health issues anyway, she really needs someone at home to look after her all the time. I'm home quite a bit, but not all the time. And I don't go to bed till like 4 in the morning, don't get up till midday. So it would be a completely different routine if she was with me. And I think she's, well, I know she's lived longer because she's been with my mum and dad. So although it's hard for me to not be with her every day, I know that she's got the best care. Do you know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for my mum, she wouldn't even be here. So, you know what I mean? And she's very settled here with my parents now. And they pay for all her food and everything. I pay for her vet's bill still. And she has puppy pads in her cage, so I pay for them. But, you know, my parents spend a lot of money on her, getting all these treats and everything. She's also got, she's in an indoor cage, which is a cage I bought years ago, but it's a bigger cage than she could have at mine. I can't fit quite such a big cage in. So she's actually got more room here as well. So it's really hard because sometimes I think about what if she came back and lived with me, but it would cost a lot more money. But it's not just about the money at the moment. I don't have the space because literally where she was is taken up with loads of stuff. And also I know she's lived longer because she's been with my parents and they're very good at caring for her. And my mum, whenever she gets sick, my mum's able to look after her because my mum doesn't really get squeamish about things, you know. She doesn't get squeamish about, you know, like needles. She doesn't get squeamish that much about blood. She can watch all these ER programs, you know, like emergency room and, you know, surgery stuff, procedures. And I can't do anything like that. I'm really, really squeamish. I get nearly faint when I see blood. But I'm okay. I mean, I can stand it with guinea pigs because I am used to guinea pigs being poorly. So, but the injections I couldn't do. But my mum's actually diabetic, injects herself regularly anyway. But obviously if she ever became diabetic again, then she'd still have to keep living with my parents anyway. But my mum syringes her every morning. But the vet doesn't seem to think that her not drinking anymore is a problem because she's like, well, she's not diabetic anymore, so she's probably getting enough water from her food, and so she doesn't need it. But I just get a bit concerned about that. My mum's been syringing her ever since she stopped every day. And of course with the heat, you know, it's kind of good if she does get extra water, because, you know, you don't want her to be dehydrated or anything like that or getting heat stroke, you know. But I really love my Angel to bits, and I do think, you know, would it be better for her to be with me or be with my parents? But at the moment I keep coming back to the conclusion, I think at the moment she's good with my parents maybe for forever, because my mum's just like so on the ball with taking care of her. She's in a regular routine. She gets cleaned out without doubt every single day. You know, and she's lived longer living with my parents, you know, and my most important thing is for Angel to live as long as she can, even if I don't see her as much, because prolonging life to me is a be all and end all. You know, it's much better for her to, you know, have as much care as possible. My mum puts cream on her and administers medication if she needs it. She's got a cream for life now, because apparently she's got a certain condition on her foot, which is a certain dermatitis, so she's got to have special cream which is antifungal and antiseptic. He says she's got to have it for life now because she'll have this condition for life. I did say though, but because she's recovered from diabetes and that's meant to be from life, then maybe she won't have it for life. Because she makes the impossible possible, you know. yeah, but I really love Angel. She's the most cutest piggy. Look at that. Look at that. I love my angel. I love my angel. I love my angel. I love my angel. I love my girl. I love my angel. Angel of mine. So my dad applied pressure on the wound earlier and that stopped it bleeding, which I'm so glad about, because when guinea pigs lose blood, it can be a lot for a little, well, it was a lot anyway. My mum said it was completely just pouring out of her. And at first they thought it was internal, but then they realised it was her paw, where she'd had previous surgery. But it was months ago, so it should have healed by now. There shouldn't have been an issue with it, but clearly there is. So yeah, because she's got a dermatitis condition apparently on there, so yeah. Hello? Hello, beautiful. Can you say hello to the audience? Hello, audience. Hello. But I love her dearly. I do miss her implicitly. I do think about her living with me again sometimes, but I just think she's better off where she is a lot of the time. Not to the point of love, because, well, my parents love her anyway. My mum loves her so much. My mum, you know, cleans her out every day without fail. My mum's always paying attention to her. Just that I love her too. We have a very special bond, don't we, Angel? Yeah, my dad applied pressure to the wound, luckily stopped it, which I was glad about. Because I live in Exeter and my parents live in Dawlish, so even to come and pick me up takes about 30 to 40 minutes, and then we have to get to the vets. So, you know, all in all, it's like an hour and a half nearly before she was seen for a vet. Well, a bit over that. Actually, yeah, because my mum phoned me at 9:04. We didn't get to vets at 10:40, but my dad stopped the bleeding, luckily, quite soon after they phoned me. So, you know, I'm glad. So he applied pressure to his, put it to his chest, put tissue on it, and applied pressure, and that stopped it. And the vet said my dad did very well with the first aid, because that's exactly what he should have done. But when her companion was alive, I did actually cut her nails, and once I cut one of them too short, and it was bleeding, and so I had to stick the nail in my mouth, because what happens is like under your tongue with saliva, that has platelets in it, which congeals wounds and stops them bleeding. So that's what I did with her companion. When her companion had a nail I had cut too short once, it started bleeding. That's what I did. But Mum's like, there's no way you would have been able to put her paw in your mouth to do something like that, because it was just flooding out. So I'm so glad she's all right. I really worry about you, don't I? I really worry about you. But I know you're well looked after. She's a beautiful, beautiful piggy. So we're at my parents' at the moment, and their garden's like really, really nice. They've got like a water fountain thing going into the goldfish, so you probably can hear it. Hear that water? And Angel's adorable. Aren't you gorgeous? So I don't know if we can spin you around a bit. I don't think I can while I've got Angel on here. I'll see if I can, but I don't think I can. Let's have a go, shall we? Shall we see if we can spin around? There we go. So that is Angel's cage. She's got an indoor cage. She lives constantly indoors, so my mum can always keep her eye on her. And then this is my parents' garden. It's really nice. And there's like a water fountain over this area with plants. And my mum's got a cockatiel. It's over 30 years old. Mum was saying, my dad was saying they think it's about 35 years old that lives in there. And I don't know if you can see, but up there are pictures of me. Let me see if I can take you with Angel. That is a picture of me from years ago. I don't know if you can see that because the phone's a bit jerky, a bit wobbly. And that's an actual photograph of me as well. I took it in a professional studio years ago. So yeah. So that's Angel's cage, indoor cage. And this is our igloo. And this is a toy that I had years ago that she normally puts on the igloo, and that keeps Angel company. Oh, I've got loads of like, you're right, Angel. Mum's got loads of like gorgeous stuff going on in the garden. My mum's got fish in there. I don't know if you can see it. So I'm trying to hold it up the phone, and you can see my thumb in the way of the camera lens. Oh my god. There we go. It's got fish in there, real fish. And there's a cockatiel over there in that cage indoors. But yeah, Mum's got a beautiful garden. And sometimes I sit with Angel on here. Don't we, Angel? We sit outside sometimes. Oh. So we're outside. Oh, sorry. We're outside now. Let me switch around. I don't know if I can switch around, can I? There we go. So this is Angel now and me outside. Oh, and my parents' dog is actually out with us now. There's Angel. Angel loves the... Sorry, I went off there. It's because my parents' internet is in there and I'm out of the house now. So it's like I'm using their Wi-Fi. So that's why it went a bit funny. But yeah, this is my parents' garden. And Angel loves being in the garden, don't you, darling? She absolutely adores it because, you know, she used to actually, when she was born, she lived with her parents in an outdoor cage. Nowadays she lives indoors. But whenever she goes outside, it brings back beautiful memories of the fresh air, doesn't it, darling? So she really loves it. You just got to be careful that the sun's not directly on her, because you don't want her to, like, you know, get dehydrated or get sunburn or anything. But it's a bit shady here on the chair of my parents, so, you know, she's okay at the moment. And she's got a towel anyway that I can throw over her if there's a problem. But yeah, you know, she's so beautiful, and I love her so much. And you know, like when you have so much love for a little one, that your heart just fills up, and it just feels like it's leaping whenever you see your beautiful girl. That's what it feels like when I see Angel, because every time I see Angel, she reminds me of miracles can happen. Like I said, she's a recovered diabetic, which the vet said is impossible to happen. And, you know, and she's been through a number of operations, and she's still smiling on you, smiling in your own way. If she's got a bit of a dirty nose, it's because she did have her paw bleeding earlier, so she has had a bit of dried blood on her nose from earlier, haven't you, sweetheart? I might have to clean that off unless you take... So she does clean herself, so she have to get some of it off anyway. But, you know, which it's good if they self-clean, really. But yeah, she's a little bit, you know. But she's been asleep since she came from the vets, haven't you, darling? Resting. But might have to clean your nose up a bit. But yeah, I'm so glad that she's alright and that she's, you know, like, going to be fine. Should be. Hopefully the paw won't have any more issues like that going forward. But she's got a check-up anyway in a couple of weeks. But she's beautiful. Do you want to see my parents' dog? I think you've seen it before. This is Millie. Say hello, Millie. Good girl. Millie's my parents' dog, and she looks like a fox. So, yeah. She's a cross Chihuahua and Terrier, aren't you? So... She gets on well with Angel, actually, but I don't like them too near each other because I get a bit worried because she's still a part terrier, you know. But I do love Angel to bits, and she's my baby girl, and I sometimes sing her the song, don't I? You're my angel, you're my angel. So R. Kelly and Celine Dion sang a song called Angel, like You're My Angel, and her name's Angel, so I love to sing it to her, you know, because she is an angel. You're my angel, you're my angel. And she's so beautiful and cute, and I'm so blessed to have her in my life, and You know, 6 is a beautiful age, and hopefully she's going to have many more years to come, aren't you? Because you're gorgeous and you put on weight, which is a really good sign. And even though you've had a bit of a traumatic experience earlier with your paw problem, you've managed to still keep eating and still keep looking positive and still, you know, like being happy piggy in spite of all that. And she did so well at the vets because she had to have like forceps, like tweezers, to pull the hay out that's stuck in the wound that had wrapped around her foot, and she did it without anaesthetic. My mum had to hold her, and the nurse, while the vet did it, I could hold her, but I get a bit worried about her struggling, so I said my mum could do that because my mum's a bit better at that. Because if she feels tense because I'm tense, it's not going to help her really. You know. But, you know, it's difficult because I love her, but my mum loves her anyway. It's like, oh, what's someone she feels comforted by? But, you know, she's used to being with my mum anyway. But I let my mum do that because my mum's a bit less, delicate than I am. You know what I mean? I'm very like, oh my gosh. She's like, her heart's beating fast because she's having to have some surgery there and then, and she hasn't got anaesthetic and she's getting a bit stressed. I get a bit worried about her, but she's fine. After it was over, she's like, stopped struggling, didn't you? You did yelp a bit because it's a bit, but because she's getting 6 now, it's better if she's not under anaesthetic as much as possible, you know? I said they could put her under if she really needed to because I don't want her stressed out, but she was fine in the end. But yeah, she's a beautiful girl. Look at her. Have you ever seen such a beautiful piggy? She's what they call a teddy guinea pig. And she really does look like a teddy bear, doesn't she? You know what I mean? Don't you look like a teddy bear? Don't you look like a teddy bear? You do. You're gorgeous. Aren't you gorgeous? Yeah. Oh, you got your other paw out underneath me. When they spread their paws out, actually, it means they're very relaxed. She's got her other paw spread out. Oh, my slipper socks on outside. Probably isn't the best thing to do, but never mind. But yeah, she's beautiful. And I'm very fortunate and blessed to have her. And yeah, she's gorgeous. Anyway, never ever forget that miracles can happen, that the impossible can become possible, and that anything is possible in life. I love you dearly. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it. If you love Angel. Who doesn't love Angel? She's gorgeous, aren't you? Yeah, look at her face. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode. Lots of love.